Hey guys, it's that time to talk Sonic Frontiers again. So I had a couple of days to digest all the information that we've been given over the course of June, and it's been a lot to take in. So to make things easier on both myself and you guys, I'm going to split it into a variety of discussion videos covering specific topics about what we've learned for the game. In the case of this video, we're going to dive into a little bit more about the cyberspace levels, as well as the apparent return of 2D gameplay, which isn't entirely thrilling to me, but isn't necessarily a deal breaker either. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Ever since it was discovered that assets from Sonic Generations were being recycled for Sonic Frontiers, people were quick to catch on to the fact that these stages would be based on Sonic's history. So guess how many people were surprised to see Green Hill Zone unveiled last week in a Nintendo Direct? Hint: nobody. Pretty sure it was going to incite a lot of complaints from people given how commonly it's been reused for the more recent Sonic titles, but we're not going to get too deep into that subject. As long as it's fun to play through, that's ultimately all that matters. Since then, other stages have been confirmed from the list also, many of which were also taken from Sonic Generations. There's Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, which was basically a given thanks in part to the leaked footage we've seen from Summer Game Fest not long ago, and it was recently referred to as a Sky Temple in IGN's Q&A video last week, an accurate description for Sky Sanctuary. There's also Rooftop Run and Sonic Unleashed, which I'm more than 100% on board with because I love the heck out of Unleashed, and I'd love to see how amazing Rooftop Run will look in Frontiers. Heck yeah! And then, there's another stage that caught my attention. It's simply titled Metropolis, but it was never made clear as to which Metropolis stage they were referring to in the podcast held by GameInformer.com. When asked to elaborate on this Metropolis stage, one of the gentlemen running the Game Informer podcast described it as a stage having a reddish tint to it. This is a description that the new highway stage we've seen in Nintendo Direct doesn't exactly fit, but it does fit 2 of 3 stages I can think of from Sonic's games that all have Metropolis in their names. The first one comes from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where its iteration of Metropolis Zone lasts for like 3 acts long, but quickly overstays its welcome because of how tedious it is to play through. Seriously, it sucks. So I can understand those not wanting to see it return in Frontiers, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing it being reimagined in 3D, as that would make it a completely different stage from its predecessor, and allow for a lot more room in the way of design philosophy. Wouldn't anyone like to see that? It could also refer to Grand Metropolis and Sonic Heroes, which also fits the description given by the Game Informer guy, a stage having a reddish tint to it. And come on, a hero stage being reimagined in the style of Sonic Generations or Frontiers in this case, who would not want to see that? Then there's a series of Metropolis stages that make up part of the stage list in Sonic Forces, but unlike Sonic 2's Metropolis and Grand Metropolis in Sonic Heroes, that one does not fit the description of having a reddish tint, so it's the least likely candidate here. Regardless, it is a more recent stage design, and it's taken from a game that's commonly described as a downscaled version of Sonic Generations, so I don't think I would count it out of the game just yet. I think its aesthetic looks nice, it's just that its level design was very underwhelming, like many of the stages in Forces really. So if it ever comes back, I'd like to see them do it some proper justice this time. It remains up in the air as to what exactly this Metropolis stage will be based on, but I guess we'll see. No other cyberspace stages have been confirmed since, but given the reuse of Generations assets, we can easily predict some of them. Speed Highway from Sonic Adventure 1, City Escape from Adventure 2, Seaside Hill from Heroes, Planet Wisp from Colors, and Crisis City from Sonic Go 6. We might also get to see the Generations 3DS stage list reimagined for Frontiers, including Emerald Coast. I admit I'm being very hopeful when I say this, but come on, if we're gonna base all of these stages on Sonic's history, why not go the extra mile, huh? As was said at the start of the video, it looks like 2D gameplay is making a return yet again, but I'm not entirely sure if it will be mixed in with stages that already have 3D gameplay involved, as per a hybrid title like with Colors Unleashed and Generations. The reason I say this is because in the IGN Q&A video, it was explained that an IGN representative had found another cyberspace stage, though they never identified it by name, and that one was entirely 2D, no 3D anywhere in sight. So it looks like Sonic Team will be jumping back and forth between all 2D stages and all 3D stages for the cyberspace stage list. That's my best guess at least. Despite that, I can't help feeling mildly disappointed, and I know it feels like such a minor thing to complain about, but let's not twist my words out of context here. Since becoming a Sonic fan, I've loved playing Sonic whether it's in 2D or 3D, so I'm certainly willing to adjust to either format for whatever the game demands, but I was also hoping to see Sonic Team leave both gameplay styles in their own respective lanes instead of forcing them to intersect so much, you know? But instead, Sonic Frontiers is looking to be less revolutionary, like what Takashi Iizuka describes it to be as, on par Sonic Adventure in terms of what revolutionary is. Right now, Frontiers is looking like another game that is echoing many of the trends set by previous Sonic titles. But it is throwing its own share of new stuff into the mix, don't get me wrong, the skill tree system in particular, and the open world setting. There will be plenty of new stuff, so I'm not calling this not a revolutionary title at all. It probably isn't going to be as revolutionary as what I expected it to be though, but that's probably more a me thing than anything, really. To be clear on what I mean, at its core, this will still be a 3D Sonic game, but it will also have entirely 2D stages, though at the very least, these apparently won't be mixed in with 3D stages from the way the story is being told. So in a way, it is a step away from a design choice shared between Unleashed, Colors, and Generations of combining 2D and 3D within the same stages, but this still isn't the extent of what I had hoped to see, but I'll take it regardless. Other details have been shared about the cyberspace levels, of course, and these include the fact that they're being labeled in a format similar to what you see in Mario games. For example, Stage 1-1, Stage 1-2, Stage 1-3, and so on and so forth. In fact, Stage 1-1, which is Green Hill Zone, is the very first stage that you'll get to play Sonic Frontiers, following the opening cutscene where you see Sonic, Tails, and Amy thrown into a wormhole nearby the Starfall Islands. This immediately breaks apart my theory that the wormhole would be generated by the Master Emerald's energy in the Frontiers prologue animation that we'll be getting eventually. I was so sure that they would be connected somehow. But if not for that, then I have to wonder what the prologue animation is going to be about. We just know it will involve Knuckles and the Master Emerald, but in what capacity? Well, we don't know yet. But we do know that when you fall to the wormhole, you're taken to a tutorial stage, which is essentially Green Hill 1-1. This makes sense because Green Hill Zone was always known to be a tutorial stage of sorts, and when you're getting into a new game, you're going to want to know what you're getting into, so a tutorial will be necessary for that. Two other stages for Green Hill were described either Unleashed Inspired or Metropolitan. And about the Metropolitan bit, that might have to do with the all-street stage that you've seen in the Nintendo Direct, which doesn't make any sense because then it might as well not be Green Hill at all, huh? It's also being said that these stages will be on the shorter side, which is kind of a letdown for me, but also not too shocking. I think the open world setting is meant to be the meat and potatoes of Sonic Frontiers, whereas the cyberspace stages are there just to sweeten the deal. So this isn't shocking to me. And if I'm being fair, I could go ahead and say right now that many of the stages I've completed in previous Sonic games, for example Green Hill Zone or Chemical Plant in Sonic Mania, all feel ridiculously short to me because I'm so used to finishing them quickly that they will feel short like that. It might just be a matter of experience, but sometimes a stage won't feel nearly long enough to you. Whereas other stages will feel long to power through no matter how much you played them. For example, the lineup of stages in Sonic Heroes. That might be because of the design choices for the teamwork mechanic though. If it's any consolation, these stages will have multiple pathways to the finish, so there's some depth to the stages already, and each of them will have multiple goals for you to finish, each of which will reward you with Evolved Key. So it's looking like the replay value will be high for each of the cyberspace stages, which is great to see. You always want to provide the player with incentive to replay certain stages. That's always been one of the biggest draws to a Sonic game since the very first title. The feeling of mastering a stage without making any mistakes and always going at Sonic speed, it never gets less enjoyable, man. In spite of my misgivings that Sonic Frontiers is recycling trends that have long overstayed their welcome, like mixing 2D stages into a 3D Sonic game, or keeping the boost mechanic for the millionth time, it looks like the Wisps, which were introduced in Sonic Colors, are going to be sitting this one out, and you cannot imagine how relieved I am about this. But don't mistake me for a hater of the Wisps, I like them very much. They added a lot to Sonic Colors, and they were fun to play around with again in Sonic Colors Ultimate, but they didn't need to stick around after that. I could understand them being reused in Sonic Generations because it is a history game, and they had a stage from Sonic Colors, so of course they needed to reuse the Wisps, otherwise it would not work. But after that, they appeared to become a mainstay, which didn't quite sit well with me. Yet we saw them again in Sonic Lost World, and then yet again in Sonic Forces. Like, you're going to keep a specific set of characters limited to, say, the Sonic Riders series, but you're going to let the Wisp have a spotlight most of the time? That never made any sense to me personally, but oh well. At least they're going to be given a break. It's not that they're terrible, I just had enough of them for a while. So to summarize, we're getting a healthy amount of cyberspace stages, more than I had initially anticipated. I think we're getting like 28 in all, and each island will have at least 6, 7, or maybe 8, depending on the size of the island and all of the challenges that it offers. These stages will also be on the shorter side, but will have multiple pathways that you can experiment with, and multiple goals for you to finish. Some will be entirely 3D, others 2D. I can adjust to either, but I was hoping for a package that was entirely 3D, that's just me though. And best of all, these stages sound very fun to play through, which is highly encouraging to hear. Now, Sega, could we get a demo going for Sonic Frontiers before the game actually comes out? Please, 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 please! Come on guys, you know I had to ask. That should about cover everything for the cyberspace stages, including the ones that are completely 2D. But stick around on this channel because there will be more videos when we dive into other subjects of interest for the game. A lot of videos. But I figure it's better to split it into multiple videos instead of trying to cover it all in one video, because then it'll be like well over an hour long, and I'm not going to make y'all sit through a video that long because ain't nobody got the time for that. So I figure it was easier this way. But yeah, that's it for this video guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on what we've learned so far about the game, and there will be more of those coming up real soon, so if you're interested, make sure to sub and ring that bell to stay up to date. And don't forget to leave those likes and comments down below if you enjoyed this video. They mean the world to me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care and don't forget, blue blurs for life.